Trauma in the Syrian Refugees in Germany by Ali Kayet. Why Syria specifically? Syria is a focal point because of its prolonged conflict. The war led to one of the largest refugee crises, leaving millions to be impacted, giving diverse experiences of displacement and resilience. The situation also influences international responses and humanitarian actions. So, throughout this presentation, I will focus mainly on two main points, that is Orientalism and the danger of a single story. Orientalism views Western cultures as superior to Eastern. It portrays Western values as more advanced compared to non-Western societies, while the danger of a single story stresses the need to hear diverse perspectives to avoid harmful assumptions. Ignoring this can lead to misunderstandings and division within communities. So for the abstract, I will examine the psychological impact of displacement on Syrian refugees in Germany. I will also explore the relationship between displaced Syrians and available support systems, specifically mental health challenges. And through these conditions, common are among refugees, but often they go overlooked or underaddressed, which also contributes to long-term psychological distress. And mental health services is limited, hindering efforts to support refugees. I will also identify things that can help attribute to that. And I will also look in the gaps that support and propose solutions to improve refugee outcomes, enhancing their resilience into societies such as Germany. And I also contribute to an understanding of refugee challenges and advocate for more mental health interventions. So let's begin. So what exactly is this? So I focus mainly on PTSD, which is a mental condition that can develop after a person experiences or witnesses a traumatic event. For refugees, the occurrence of PTSD is high due to experiences such as war, violence, and loss, which these effects can last for generations. Supporting Syrian refugees with PTSD requires a lot of different approaches. Some I think are most important are mental health services, access to resources, and long-term support systems. They will mainly be focused throughout this presentation. So what exactly is this whole crisis? The war began March of 2011 when government suppressed peaceful protests for political reform, and it escalated into widespread violence. And Syria resorted to violent crackdowns on protests, including force, which led to armed resistance. Millions of Syrians were forcibly displaced because of this, creating one of the largest refugee crises in modern history. Okay, so what exactly is trauma? Trauma includes psychological responses to distressing events such as violence, loss, or severe stress, often resulting in lasting mental health challenges. This affects people's emotional well-being, mental health, and relationships. It also helps determine a person's coping mechanisms and resilience. So as you can see through the map, Germany highlights its commitment to humanitarian aid with supporting 20,000 resettled individuals. And this comparison of countries highlights the significant difference between Germany's efforts and those of its counterparts, positioning Germany as a leader in this issue, while other countries reflect a more conservative approach to refugee intake. So the trauma of Syrians in Germany, I mainly found this study by the Biomed Central Psychiatry, and it polled 200 of 518 Syrian refugees, and it was found that a big portion reported high levels of depression, anxiety, and PTSD, with depression being at 26.9% of everybody, 16.7% suffered from anxiety, while 13.9% of them suffered from PTSD. They also did a second survey polling 108 of those original 200 Syrian refugees, and they found that many reported facing barriers to accessing mental health services, with 30.6 suffering from depression, 15.7 still suffering from anxiety and 13% suffering from PTSD. They also did an international study on refugees from Syrians that relocated all over the place, not just specifically in Germany, but they found that 31.5% suffered from depression, 11% suffered from anxiety, and 31.46% suffered from PTSD. They found that higher rates of depression seemed to continue for many years after displacement because they did not find those mental health services. And these results show that we need early and ongoing mental health support for refugees, not just during resettlement, for their well-being. So why? The main focus were these studies because they highlight the mental health needs of refugees while they face many barriers. Ongoing support is crucial for their well-being, and the findings emphasize the need for policy changes to provide accessible, culturally appropriate mental health services. It underscores the need for long-term support for refugees who face high rates of depression, anxiety, and PTSD due to trauma and displacement. After time, PTSD and anxiety continue to stay the same while depression rises. The obstacles to accessing care prevent many refugees from receiving the help they need. Addressing these issues through sustained support can improve their well-being and ease their integration into new communities. So, some trauma relief accessibility show that displaced Syrians face barriers that hinder their access to these services, some being social isolation, language barriers, resource limitations, distrust in the systems, and cultural misunderstandings. So what can change with all that? We can try to advocate for better education access, which can enhance integration and long-term success. Language support, which helps refugees communicate their needs better. Peer support groups, which provides refugees with a space that is safe to share experiences. We could give them employment opportunities, which helps refugees rebuild their lives and achieve financial stability. And we can improve mental health services, respecting their cultural differences and giving accessibility is vital for trauma recovery. Introducing these initiatives can greatly boost the well-being and assimilation of Syrian refugees in their new communities. So, going back to Orientalism and the dangers of a single story, the presentation highlights how, through the dangers of a single story, we risk oversimplifying the complex realities of Syrian refugees. There are many ways that can tie into this, but by focusing on one narrative, we ignore the diversity of their experiences, resilience, and the challenges that they may face. It's crucial to understand the full scope of their trauma, including the mental health impact, and recognize the barriers they face in accessing support. Only by hearing these diverse stories can we create effective, culturally sensitive solutions to aid their recovery and integration. So the conclusion of this all is that displaced Syrians are at a higher risk for mental health problems from trauma such as depression, anxiety, and PTSD. Many Syrians have witnessed loved ones die, experienced physical harm, and faced frightening situations while fleeing into a new country. It's crucial to explore new methods for providing affordable trauma relief to displaced Syrians due to the significant need for such support. If trauma needs are ignored, other life issues may emerge later. And thank you for listening. These are my references for my entire slides. And if you have any questions, I'm here. Thank you.